Harold Lloyd was a silent film star in the 1920s. He was most famous for the film Safety Last, which is a thriller and romantic movie. He was also a screenwriter and film producer. He was known as the third genius of silent cinema next to Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton. Harold Lloyd majorly influenced the 1920s and even part of today. His film Safety Last is still recognized to be one of the prime influences of action movies. As for the 1920s, he was very innovative, playing with camera angles and trying new things for other filmmakers to pick up on. He helped pioneer the romantic comedy and brought extra laughter to the 1920s. Harold Lloyd represented the 1920s because everything was busy, upbeat, and chaotic, and that was represented in many of his films. Harold Lloyd also represented the 1920s by including speed. In his films, you will see trains, planes, and automobiles in the big rushing city. Harold Lloyd died on March 8, 1971. From the 1920s up until then, he went into photography. He made a smooth transition from silent films to talkies, but he was not making nearly as much money as he had in past years. His career was dying out, but he soon discovered photography. He became involved with color film experiments and continued this hobby up until his death. Harold Lloyd, along with many other silent movie stars, were naturally afraid to transition from silent films to talkies. Harold Lloyd seemed to have made a smoother transition than others. In his 1929 comedy, Welcome Danger, Lloyd realized sound wasn't just a fad. He then changed casts and directors and shot 2 versions. Many people were eager to hear him talk for the first time, so that film was very popular. He was definitely outer-oriented in the public eye. He was funny, outgoing, and a risk-taker. Silent films were mainly all about comedy and making people laugh, so to be successful in the silent film world, you'd have to be familiar with slapstick comedy. Harold Lloyd was not as risk-taking and didn't climb buildings for fun in his real life, but he did have a good sense of humor. Jim Carrey is a modern comedian who would best compare to Harold Lloyd because he is known for his highly energetic slapstick performances. If I had a group of students, I'd tell them to live their life to the fullest, take risks, and don't hold back. They can do anything they set their minds to. It might not be climbing a clock tower in Harold Lloyd's case, but if they keep trying, they'll succeed. If I lived in the 1920s, I believe that we would have become friends. I love comedy and have a good sense of humor, so I think that we would get along nicely.